Welcome to Getting Neighborly in Fairview, Texas, the official community podcast for the town of Fairview, hosted by the Fairview Economic Development Corporation. On every episode, we spend time getting to know our neighbors and hearing the stories that make our town a community. This is Getting Neighborly in Fairview, Texas. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Getting Neighborly. My name is Dave Quinn. I'm the Economic Development Director for the town of Fairview, and I'm so excited to be here today and joined by Lori Satterwhite. Lori, thank you for making time in the middle of this crazy time that we are. We've taken precautions and have been safely distanced and masked and everything else we needed to make this happen. But thank you for agreeing to come on the show.
It is my pleasure and honor. And you got me out of the house, which is full of, kids and husbands working at home. So anytime.
Isn't that awesome that now, we need an excuse to get out of the house?
It's pretty cool that there's advantages.
Right. Well, thank you again, Lori. So, on the show, what we do is get to know our neighbors. Fairview, I have found, has fantastic people that live here, and it's the treasure trove. I mean, I want to just spend time with the people because they have done such crazy and wonderful, cool things. And so what we do here is we want to understand your story. So I'm going to start off by asking you to give me sort of how we got to Fairview, and then we can kind of talk about what you do now and that sort of thing. But tell me how you got to Fairview.
Well, that's a great question. I was actually thinking about that yesterday and talking with my husband because, funny story, I have moved 33 times in my life. So yes, I am a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force. So I'm including all those moves. I'm an Aggie. So, there's moving to College Station and back. But in my marriage, I've been married 22 years. We started off in Dallas and then we were in Plano. And those were great places, but we started searching for the place. I married a native Texan, and he envisioned, where can we just grow old and raise our kids and, have trees and have a little land? I'm like, no, but I need to be by shopping and restaurants. And so we started driving around every weekend, all around Collin County. And we kept coming back to Fairview, Texas. As a matter of fact, we kept coming back to the exact neighborhood. We live in one of the older neighborhoods that, homes were built in the late 70s, early 80s. So, and they have 1 acre lots with trees. And for my Southeast Texas husband, he's like, okay, we have to find a place here. And for me, my parents had just moved, when my 17-year-old, I have 2 kids, 19 and 17, and he was 1 year old, they'd move out to Heritage Ranch in Fairview. That's the active adult community that you're probably familiar with. But and I wanted to be close to them. And so we've had kind of a varied, schooling situation with our kids. We've done everything from public school, homeschool, and private school. And we didn't know what the plan was going to be. We're like, where do we want to live? No matter what type of school option we're doing. And that led us right to Fairview. And we've been here it'll be 9.5 years this Christmas. So the longest I've lived anywhere in my whole life.
That's really exciting. Is Fairview. You found your place.
Yes. As a matter of fact, after 22 years of pestering my husband, we finally put a pool in last year after our kids are grown, because that meant he was putting down roots and we're staying. That's for us.
Well, that's one of my sayings that my wife loves to say is she talks about how you can have, your backyard, your land, but to your point, Whole Foods, Dillard's, Macy's, 5 minutes away, right? You don't have to sacrifice. And I think that's what we like about Fairview and making it such a unique place. In the middle of Collin County, in the middle of everything that's blowing up, you've been able to find a place that you can take roots and have the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
So now tell me, we know where you live. It's a great living in the great neighborhood of Fairview. Now, what do you do? You're a business owner. That's obviously why we're connected to economic development and talking to the business owners and the folks here in Fairview. Tell what is it that you do? I'm sort of interested it's a great story. What is the Fueled for Life? There's got to be a story behind that and how you arrived at Fueled for Life.
Okay, so I said I was an Aggie girl like many moons ago. I actually have an accounting degree from Texas A&amp, so very, very different start. Found out after about 5 years that was really like working for one of the big firms, not for me. I always knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't really know my path back in college, like many young people. And then in my early to mid 20s, I started having a lot of symptoms after the birth of my kids. Was diagnosed with 3 different autoimmune conditions and really not feeling well, low energy, literally didn't get out of bed for about 18 months with 2 toddlers. Yeah, it was not a great season. And I'm so thankful for my parents and my husband who came around me and the many doctors. But it started me seeking other ways to help myself. And so I learned everything I could about nutrition. I went back to school because I basically started digging and looking for solutions. And I became what is called now a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. So I help people transform from the inside out just with a focus on nutrient-dense, properly prepared food as a foundation of healing. And I'm happy to say I'm like 98% symptom-free today, 20 years later. And that really is from small shifts that have a big impact on my life and then the life of my clients. So when I learned how to do that, I couldn't shut up. I just was doing it for free.
Hey, are you doing this? Are you doing this?
Right. Ask my husband. He probably gets tired of it, although now he kind of preaches it. And it was like, well, wait a minute. Why don't I get paid to do this? Because I'm passionate. And so whether it's pro bono clients or meeting with a friend over coffee and helping, or my business that's now across different continents, I have clients all over, thanks to Zoom and technology and Facebook, or local clients. I just am so passionate about giving people tools to help themselves, to feel better, to live that higher quality of life. That's where the name comes in. Between eating better or your mindset or building more lifestyle habits that helps you be fueled for a better quality of life.
So you said this has been a journey over 8 years and small shifts. Talk me through that. I mean, was it first you just started eating healthy, started eating salads all the time? I mean, what in my mind, that's where my mind goes to. It's, kind of health conscious, but I think, I can't eat regular food. I just have to eat salads or something. Talk to me about that.
Well, it's interesting because I think we all go there. We all think of just limitations when we think of healing. And before I had gone back to school and really, gone deeper into it, that's what I thought too. I became a vegetarian for a while. I did all these really radical things. But truth be told, what I have learned and seen is we are all very bio-individual. And so I use definitive testing in my practice that will test, if you're probably sensitive to something, either environmentally or food at this moment in time, Dave. Everyone is, because we all have triggers and toxins. So I use testing for my clients to pinpoint exactly what would be beneficial to eliminate for 30 days. And then, for me, it was gluten. That was a big one. I know that's a buzzword, but that's not everybody's. And then I look at how are your hormones doing? How are your organs functioning? And just really create a very individualistic game plan for my clients. But if you were like me, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this now if some of my friends are listening. When I was a young mom, I was taking my kids to fast food restaurants every day of the week for the playlands. I guess we're not doing that these days, but not eating very well. So you don't take someone who's eating that 3 times a day to you're going to cut out everything under the sun. It's just a progression of shifts. But you want to guess the number one thing that helps, I'd say 80% of my clients feel better within a week?
I'm going to say no sugar or no coffee.
Well, that could be true, but let's go simpler.
Water.
My bottle of water I'm holding up. Yes, hydration. So that was a key. There's a lot of foundations I learned in school of simple things. They don't have to be radical. Really about 85% of us are chronically dehydrated. So simple things like that. Because how much water do you drink per day? If I were to ask you.
I drink probably 2 Topo Chicos a day. Does that carbonated water count? Or is that like,
okay, we're going to talk offline. Yeah, you might have to hire me. Well, so here's a goal, and I'll say this to everyone listening, especially during the holidays, we're indulging with more coffee, tea, maybe beverages, cocktails. You want to start as a baseline with half your body weight in ounces of water. So if someone is a 150-pound woman, they want to aim for 75 ounces of water. So, I mean, men a little bit more if they're heavier. And if you're drinking for each alcoholic beverage, soda, or
you got
coffee,
to adjust for that
you're
going
to add another, like if you drink an 8-ounce coffee, add in another glass of water. And you may not start there again, but that's your goal. You want to get there. And the Topo Chico, those can be good additions.
They're water, right? It feels like it's healthy.
I mean, hey, that's a better choice. Again, that's what we talk
it's
about.
It's all about shades, right? I'm getting
It's
better.
all about change. I'd rather, I have those at home too, and I'll go to that rather than a soda. So
yeah,
that's
I haven't
great.
had soda in probably a decade, but I have just recently started drinking the carbonated water, and it gives the same feel as drinking a soda, but it feels, I feel better. My mindset says I'm healthier because of it, but it sounds like I need to drink another gallon or two of water a day.
Well, maybe not 2 gallons, but maybe like for every Topo Chico, have a glass of water, and you can add a little lemon or a pinch of natural sea salt, and that'll give you electrolytes, and you can flavor it with some fruit, lemon or lime, and make it more fun. Plus, you'll get more out of it. Sorry to go off on that tangent.
No,
but
that's awesome.
The idea of, an example of a simple shift that could probably, if I talk to you in a week and you do this, you're going to feel so much better flushing those toxins and probably dropping a couple pounds doing nothing else.
So who is the person, when you're like, that person I need to talk to or see or help? Who's your ideal client? Who is the person that, and how do I know that you're the right fit for me? Like, at what point do I go, I can't do this by myself? But is there sort of things like that?
That is a great question. So ideally, I don't just work with someone who says they want to lose weight. Like, that's a byproduct, but to me, the goal is to get healthier. But that's not even the first place I start. For me, the ideal client is someone who wants to work on their mindset to reshape how they view eating, what their thoughts are about their body image, what their thoughts are about just self-talk, and how they emotionally react or, grab for the food when they're emotional, and just reprogramming that. And I do a lot, with Fueled for Life, it's mind, body, spirit. So I incorporate a lot of faith is important to me, mindset affirmations from my clients. But typically I work with women like over age 30. I do a lot of digestive issues. I do have some male clients, but women particularly, since I am one, we put ourselves last, but most parents do. We're always doing for our kids, and we're putting ourselves last. Even if we're buying the healthy food, I've been guilty even as a nutritionist of I buy the organic blueberries and then I give them all to my kids. So it's those shifts of we matter. We have to fill our cup first in order to be able to be good employees and be good parents and spouses. So really, I guess my typical avatar is someone who's ready to make those changes and ready to commit to a deeper change rather than just, I want to drop 20 pounds. But doing the programs, and I run groups as well, they typically do often shift and lose weight when they reset and rebalance everything else. So it's a good side effect.
Nice. So I will tell you, it drives me crazy how, and I've seen it in my wife for sure, but I've noticed it especially in professional women, that they are running on empty most of the time. There's very little, they just don't ever put gas back in the tank. And then, you add the stress of Christmas and the time of the season, and then now Christmas and COVID, which is an extra layer of, and we can talk about, I'd love to hear about, how you've helped maybe your family deal with just the COVID fatigue. But that is something truly that I think is hard for women. I guess there are probably guys out there too, but it seems like I've found women just tend to, they run on empty. They give, and there's nothing in the tank. And then they're like, well, I don't understand why. And then there's a whole like downward spiral of stuff that they deal with. Or I should say my wife deals with. I see that. So it sounds like, hey, maybe I should like look and have her call you or something. But so let's talk about that. We've talked about, your time in Fairview and some it. Has COVID really had an impact on the community and being able to navigate that?
As far as our family, like it's kind of business as usual because my husband and I are both entrepreneurs and he was officing somewhere else. I was seeing clients in our home. I guess what we've done is pivot. I'm now seeing clients virtually, which in a way I was kind of bummed at first because I like the face-to-face, but it allowed me to open up a whole new testing facility, a third party that I run tests for my clients to have more definitive answers. And I now see clients all over the world, which is super cool.
So your marketplace has gone really big.
It's definitely broader, and I just have to make sure they don't call me at 3 a.m. I have my separate business line that I opened up, but that part I do miss the face-to-face. I definitely do. I mean, Zoom is a great tool, but as far as we just focus, and what I try to just share with friends, neighbors, anyone, we focus more on what we can do to boost our immune system, to practice self-care, little things. This is what you can do for your wife. All you hubbies listening, I mean, just giving her that hour at night to take a Epsom salt bath, to just, go get a massage, give her a gift card maybe for Christmas, things to relax and cut the stress. That's going to go a long way to boost our immunity, and making sure we're supplementing with good vitamins and just the good food. A lot of people don't talk about that. We talk about what to do if we get sick. Everyone's in fear, but we can do so much about lowering our stress and boosting our immune system. So that's really what I work with my clients on. And then we don't have to live in fear. We can have more joy in our life. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's great. That's fabulous. One of the things that we want people to do for the show to do is to be helpful to our neighbors, right? And so this is great information for them and stuff that they can use to better themselves. So, how do people, if they hear this episode and they're like, I like this sounds interesting, I want to learn more. Tell me sort of what's on the horizon. How do they connect with you? Do you offer, these groups that you talk about? What do you have on the horizon here?
No, that's good. So people can contact me either on Facebook under my name, Lori Satterwhite, or my website, which is fueledforlife.com. I don't know if we have a place you list that on your podcast.
We'll put it in the show notes and on our web on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm working right now. I have a couple spaces for individual clients. I'm pretty booked for the new year, but I'm actually bringing on some other nutritionists under me to expand my brand. So we will be able to serve people. And then I'm running a couple group classes. One of them is an introduction to homeopathy. It's basically empowering laymen, parents, regular people to learn how to care for acute health issues like bee stings, fevers, headaches at home for their families using simple natural products you can get at Whole Foods right here in Fairview for like $10 or less. So I'm just sharing some of my knowledge and doing that on Zoom. So anyone can participate. That's on my website. And I'm also starting a group coaching class called Fast to Feast, which is going to be focused on how to detox and incorporates faith in there, incorporates some natural weight loss tips, self-care, and a lot of lifestyle things that I'm doing with a couple other colleagues of me. So that'll all be on my website, as well as what else am I doing? My bioresonance testing. If you're interested, it's hair and saliva testing you can do from the privacy of your home, and you just send it into the lab. And then I go over the results with you to see what your deficiencies are. So it's been a powerful tool for me to learn a lot during this time and not have to go to the doctor's office.
That's really cool. So I do a swab. Obviously, I'm bald, so I'd have to take a facial hair. Maybe does facial hair work? Would that
does,
work? Okay,
yeah.
That's good. But then you can tell me, hey, your body is, and is that like where sometimes you have a craving? You're like, I don't know why I'm craving that, but it does.
That can play into that, yes. It goes over, so just any kind of intolerances, any kind of imbalances. If you're craving sugar, sometimes there's parasites we have to kind of cleanse out, all kinds of cool things. So yeah, if you're maybe stuck in your health journey and there's just maybe some symptoms that are nagging, testing like that can be a powerful tool to get to that next level. And it's pretty affordable. I know a lot of the insurance plans, you can do your flex spending. So yeah, there's lots of ways if I can help. And if I can't, I love connecting people to other colleagues in the area. I partner with a lot of area doctors and chiropractors. So we'll get people, set up with the right person.
Well, Lori, thank you so much. I know, again, it's been a crazy time. We're obviously meeting during COVID and the holiday season, but I want to say thank you on behalf of the town for coming in and sharing your story, letting us get to know you a little bit better, and hopefully this will be helpful to you and your business, and your neighbors will hear what you do and look into helping themselves by getting in contact with you. So thank you. Any last words for people, words of wisdom before we sign off?
Take your vitamin D and zinc right now. No, I appreciate it. And I look forward to listening to all the other people you're interviewing. It's been a great podcast to follow. So I'm excited to see the journey of where it goes.
All right. Thank you, Lori. And thank you, listeners, for joining us for another episode of Getting Neighborly here in Fairview, Texas. Thanks, and make it a great day. Thank you for listening to this episode of Getting Neighborly in Fairview, Texas. If you're a business owner interested in calling Fairview home, contact our office by email at edc@fairviewtexas.org or visit us on the web at fairviewtexasedc.com. And if you're a resident and you know someone we should hear from, nominate them at fairviewtexasedc.com/neighbors.